For right now, it's just waiting for people to tune in.
Right.
Hey people, say peoples, nobody's here yet. I'm trying to let some people come in the room before we start. Love's Compassion Ministries podcast. Topic of the day, fatherless child. If you guys tune in, please announce yourselves when y'all come in. What up, sweetie? That's Miss Sweetie.
Right.
Share the video, please. Let people know we on.
I'm Miss Sweetie.
We're giving a little bit of time for an entrance. Don't exit, guys. We got some good stuff for you. A little meat and potatoes. If you're hungry. Love's Compassion Ministries. No commercials, no commercials. They don't sponsor me. Red Bull don't get my energy. Well, they give me energy though. We're not gonna wait too much longer. She said, hey, Tosh, hey, Jetty.
I'm Miss Sweetie.
We're hoping that what we have for you guys today is gonna be something of interest, of course. Well, I can see it there, but I also see it here. Sorry, technical difficulties, trying to help my little buddy here. Go back to Facebook. Trying to help my buddy. Hey guys, who else we got in the room? Trying to help Jetty, You want to put this in the middle so you can see it on here? There we go. When you guys come in the room, if you don't mind, please just say hey, maybe a wave, announce who you are.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. This way we know who you are that's coming on, and we can acknowledge you guys. Just leave it like that. Go ahead, listen. Coming to you live, Love's Compassion Ministries. You have me, Miss Tosh.
And me, Mr. J.
Mr. J. How about this? Don't feel no type of way, guys. We're gonna turn this music off. And we're going to hit record. All right, we're coming to you live, guys. Love's Compassion Ministries. Here you have me, Miss Tosh.
Me, Mr. J.
And we will be speaking today on the topic of
Fatherless child.
Love's energy in your voice. Fatherless child. So if you heard fatherless child, we're just going, before we hit our notes, before we start looking into what we wrote down, when you hear fatherless child, what comes to mind? Feel free, guys. You can leave comments. We'll respond to you live and in action as long as we see them.
Well, besides fatherless child, you sort of think, like, it really doesn't matter the age, just a child, period, and them not having a father in their life, whether it's abandonment, whether it's the loss of the father, one of those. That's what I think of.
How was it think of fatherless children? If I give a general response, I've definitely come across in my career a lot of fatherless children. I think of brokenness. I think of absentee. I think of something missing, a piece of the puzzle, a hole in the heart, you know, a craving, a yearning. So those are some of the things that come to mind for me. Would you like to start today? Or would you like me to start? Because if I start, you're still going to start. Because my first thing says, Jay, tell us a little bit about your story.
Baby. I would say, wow. I didn't lose like a life with my father. I have father abandonment, which means, yes, my father left. And for me, being that he was never around when I was born, well, he was technically never here to begin with, for me. But I've talked with him, I've seen him in person multiple times. It's not much of like a background kind of thing.
You want me to insert something here?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to know, and I would like for you to tell the people, how is it growing up being a young man without a father?
Well, being that, believe it or not, when I was younger, being that I was born without a father figure, and I lived with just you and my brother, I never thought about that until I think either it just popped up in my head, or maybe I was in school, and something about a father, and then I thought about it, and I was like, wait. You expressed this to me once. You said, I mentioned it to you because Milo used to always go to his dad's house. And I was like, how come? You know, where's my dad? Where's he at? So, I just never thought about it because it was never a big thing. I didn't think about, oh, where's my father? It was, I have a mom, I have a brother that I live with until that. And then that time we were in the car and we were driving, and that was the first time I got to see him. First time I remember seeing him.
How you doing, Pops? I see you on there. Pop on there.
Papa?
Mm-hmm. Be nice, we see you. All right, so Jenny's recollection thus far is him sharing that he's recalling when it was he, myself, and his brother, Miles. Here we go with an angry face. Why we always got somebody coming on angry? Someone's always hitting the angry face. Either it's an old person whose hand slipped and they don't realize it, or someone is angry and they never make themselves known. Don't be angry, guys. This is just a message. You don't have to receive it. You can log out. It's okay. We have positive spirits over here. If you don't like what you're seeing, feel free, please, to log out. No need for anger. Hi, nephew and sis. mess that name up. Thank you for listening, guys. We appreciate you for logging in and checking us out. We're always welcome to feedback, comments, and such. Questions, definitely. That gives us more things to elaborate on versus just our own views and perspectives. But Jetty was just speaking on his remembrance of the absentee dad. So I remember Jetty was probably about 2 years old, maybe about 2 years old. We were sitting in my room. He was sitting on the bed next to me, and he was like, "Miles has a dad. Where's my dad?" And I was like, "Man, I thought I had a little more time." I wasn't prepared to answer that question at the time. I knew where's. Forgive me. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This is just the nature of my relationship with said party. I don't call this person a dad. I don't call this person a father because they do not play either role in his life. So unfortunately, he goes to the extent of donor
Literally what I have him in my phone as.
Because he does nothing else. So this is no disrespect, but this is just acknowledging the person for the only role in which they play. He played a contributing factor to creating him and nothing else. Anywho, back to the ranch. So I knew Jetty's donor. I knew who he was. I knew where he was, but he chose not to be a part of his life. I knew that it would be at some point a conversation that we would have to discuss because, like he said, his brother, Miles, my oldest child, his brother, had a very active father, my ex-husband. Shout out to Nathaniel Davis. Bro, we are really getting these angry faces. Anywho, shout out to my ex-husband, Nathaniel Davis III. Awesome father. Shows up. No disrespect to you in this time, Jetty. Shows up. He's also played a role in Jetty's life. Right? Consistently. Angry faces. Okay, whatever. Maybe they're angry because of the way in which the donor operated. We don't know why they're mad. They're not making comments. They're just shooting angry faces. Anywho, Miles played a role, but they had an 8-year difference. It's not much of a male figure you can get there. You can get an older brother figure, not much of a male figure you can get there. When and if Nate had the opportunity, he did. If he took Miles and he had the chance, he took Jay as well to go and spend time with him, take him out to the movies, have him over, and hang out. So, again, shout out to Nathaniel. He's also. What up, Kion? Kazo, I appreciate you for tuning in. He took the 2 of the boys, not just his son. He also took Jay. Sorry, guys, I was reading a comment that my dad wrote. Hi, Dad. But even though Jetty didn't have her dad earlier in his years, actually, well, technically, he still doesn't have a dad. And he's had disappointing male role models in his life as well. He had what we thought was going to be a good godfather, and that faded to black. And he selected his own godfather after that. That came with whatever it came with. Hey, Quita. Hey, Martha. We appreciate you guys for logging in. I'm not going to keep interrupting to appreciate, the short appreciation, but we do see you guys. We do appreciate you guys, and I will acknowledge y'all when I get a chance. People are probably angry because no one likes parents who don't play a role in their child's life. We appreciate you. I was thinking maybe that's what the angry faces were about. But nevertheless, I personally, as his mom, never made it my business to speak negative on the donor. What I did when Jetty asked me the question of where's his dad, immediately, unbeknownst to Jetty, I texted him. I said, our child is asking where's his dad. He never responded. It's not that I didn't have the right number. He chose never to respond. So I had nothing to give him there in that moment. All I can do is pray. All I can do is hug him. Of course, that still leaves a void. Down the line, you did get to meet him in person.
I did.
Right? At this time, when he met him in person, I actually was in a relationship with who's my wife now, who also played a secondary mother figure, bonus mom to him for that time. I think around that time, he was probably about 5 or 6. Babe, you remember how old he was? About 6?
About
5? About 5 years old. Kindergarten, I'm thinking. Yeah, because you were still here. Kindergarten. And Jay, you remember how you met him?
We were driving in the car don't remember where we were. I mean, I didn't know where we were going, and we arrived at a courthouse. And I saw him sitting there on the phone. You whispered in my ear and you told me that that was him. So, you know, I got a little excited, like, oh my God, I get to see my dad.
My exact words were, remember you've always asked me, who's your dad? Where's your dad? That man over there on the phone is your dad. When he hangs up, you can go ask him whatever you like. You remember how that went?
Not exactly. I remember I had these little books that I was looking through, and I showed him them. And I don't remember what I asked him, what I said. And then I remember both of you stepping into a room, and I was sitting there waiting to dismiss Dion.
Okay, so that was a court experience that Jetty had. So what I did was, because Jetty had been asking about who his dad was, and the gentleman had, speak those things that be not as though they were gentlemen. The gentleman had shown himself to be invisible, no contact, no interest of contact. What I did was I kept him home from school at our next court date. Jay, we should speak up. We have somebody saying it's hard to hear us.
Okay.
Be nice. Let us know if you can hear us now. Are we speaking loud enough to be heard? Excuse me, guys. We're just taking a moment to make sure that we have our hardware in place correctly.
Right.
Are you able to hear us now? Should I move the camera forward? Okay, I'll continue until someone responds. So at that time when Jetty got to meet, I'm just going to do this because, thank you. I'm not one, I don't want to keep saying donor. I don't want to keep saying dad because he's not a dad. So at the time when Jetty and I got to meet TJ, it was at a courthouse when we went back to court in respect to financial provision. I kept Jedediah home from school because I knew no other way to make sure that he could meet him since old boy was playing Mr. Dodge. So I kept him home from school, took him with me to court, and I had the missus with me there. We sat there on the side, and I let Jed, you know, I said what I said to Jay. That's your dad. When he gets off the phone, you can go and ask him whatever. Now, what can be a little painful for a single mom who knows what this character or what this person plays, the role that they don't play, is to watch that excitement, because my son did have a level of excitement that day. He ran over to him screaming, "Dad," jumped in his arms. You never want to take that from a kid, but it is heartbreaking. Not heartbreaking that he had the excitement, heartbreaking because you know after this day, there's probably going to be more heartache than it is joy. And that was something that I knew because of knowing how TJ carried himself throughout the time of my pregnancy and thereafter. So he met him that day. He had this, you know, high that he was on, this cloud that he was in for the day. Went out to breakfast afterwards at IHOP. And I remember him staring off into space. And we're like, "Jay, you know, what are you thinking?" And Jay was like, "Wow. So I do have a dad." That is heartbreaking because you're listening and you're hearing some of the thoughts that you know your child feels that they may not articulate, you know, on the regular basis. So yes, you do have a dad. And how do you feel about meeting him? Do you remember your feelings during that time, Jay, on how you felt?
I remember going to IHOP, but I don't actually specifically remember that. I remember that.
You heard that? I was hearing like a rattling. Sweetie, please let me know what you're saying no to. But Jetty got to meet his dad when he was 5 years old, or he got to meet TJ when he was 5 years old. Their communication will go further within this podcast. Jay, do you have something that you would like to say, maybe from your notes, or should I continue on mine?
Well, I remember I don't remember when, but it was a while ago when I said, like, how I'm grateful for my bonus mom, how I swear I had a father figure, and then I think it was either something you mentioned or something I thought about, and I realized, no, I don't have a father figure, but as we call her my bonus mom, It's like, you know, imagine going to an arcade and you win something. It's like, yes, bonus.
Right.
But like for a while, and even to this day, I still wonder like how does TJ feel? Or how does like I never thought I don't think he cares really.
Tell people why you don't think he cares, Jay.
Because if he did care, then he would be around. If he did care, you know, he would actually give me a call. If he cared, he would be respectful. He wouldn't treat me and or us the way he did and the way he does.
You have something else there?
I do. I was just doing research and I read something and it said a disadvantage of a father or a father abandonment is a lack of affection and or attention, but it could lead to emotional or just attention from another relationship like you or Miss Dion. But growing up, because it was really just you and Miles, you know, I talked to you or spent a lot of time and was, over the years, was really close to you. So I wouldn't say I'm exactly a mama's boy, but because I'm used to more of you, I tend to like, I don't know.
Gravitate?
Yes, gravitate to you. Like something's going on, maybe you should come on.
I like what you researched. First of all, I like the fact that you went about researching that. What did you feel based on what they said, as far as you end up with maybe the result of a lack of attention or emotional, I would say emotional issues of some sort?
I wouldn't necessarily.
Your grandfather called your mom's boy. Whatever, Dad.
Thanks. I wouldn't say it's like an issue, because it's not. But being that I didn't have TJ, and I had you, it's like it said, the lack of affection from him was like saying that you needed somebody else that could care for you, that gave you affection and or attention, which would be you.
Grandma Jackie's on.
My grandma Jackie.
All right, for the record, as you know, as we stated, Jetty got to meet his dad at 5. That was not the only time in which Jetty got to meet his dad. Jetty's the type of kid whose mind is constantly going. His brain is constantly going. He looks things up. He's a thinker. He's constantly thinking. Jetty had the habit of giving a power pack question. I mean, like, it'll be something like crazy, like, do you think TJ ever loved you? And you'd be like, where did that come from? It'd be out of nowhere. Like, you could just be chilling, having dinner. TJ was never discussed. And do you think TJ ever loved you? And then I'd be like, no, I don't think that he loved me, Jay. Yeah, me neither. And then he just bounced off like he never asked the question, right? So that being said, we had a lot of those when it came to him randomly asking about TJ. So what I started doing was pop-ups, because I can see the hurt in Jay. I can see when Jay was missing, you know, that father figure that he wanted that wasn't there, especially once you piqued that interest to let him know that he had a dad. So we had an incident where we did a pop-up and there was no one home. There was cars in the driveway, but no one home. So, you know, I let Jay ring the bell. No one responded. It took a while to get him to leave from the bell. He wanted to continue to ring the bell, right?
Right.
So the next day, because I noticed that they had a Ring doorbell, next day I wanted Jetty to know, because, you know, it's like, well, how was he going to know that we were there? So I wanted Jetty to know that TJ knew that we came by. So I said, Jay, I just wanted you to know that TJ came by. What I did was I pulled up the Ring camera so I can show him, or a Ring doorbell to show him how it works. Reminded him what he saw, show him how it works. So, hey, Jermaine. I pulled up the camera. I said, Jay, I just want you to know that he does know that you came by. How do you know that he knows that I came by? So I showed him the Ring camera. I showed him once you ring that bell, that automatically notifies him on his phone that someone is at his house. So he knows that you were there. If he reaches out to you, great. If he does not reach out to you, that's just him, you know, furthermore showing, you know, his interest or lack thereof. We did that a couple times, right, Jay? Did that a couple times, randomly popping up at the house. It was always a large gap in between because, first off, I'm not a person who chases anybody. I'm not trying to make you be a part of something that you don't want to be a part of. The only reason I put forth the energy and effort that I did put forth is because I got to see his broken heart daily. I got to see how he felt daily when it came to Father's Day coming around. That's a hard thing when all your peers in school is creating things for their fathers and you don't have pops. It's a hard thing when they're having dances, you know, with their children and you don't have that other parent. My wife, don't get me wrong, she did a great job in standing up and stepping in the role of a co-parent. Hey, cousin. Stepping in the role of a co-parent, but you can never replace a father. A mother can't replace a father. A bonus mom can't replace a father. And let the truth be told, a bonus dad can't replace a father either. No male figure can replace that yearning that one will have for their father. Do you agree? Is that right?
I agree.
So, Jenny decided years down the line, met him at 5, somewhere around the age of 9. He himself decided he no longer wanted to put forth the effort to try to force the relationship. Jay, can you tell the people why you put forth that energy or why you made that decision? Yeah, I see the bug. Don't worry about it.
It's got the light. But, was that after,
It's fun over.
So, well, there was a time period where all I could do, like I didn't have much to do and all I could do was really think. I always think. So I took a lot of time thinking and thinking. I thought about it and it was almost like meditating, like deep thinking about life. And I thought and I was like, there really wasn't a point to putting in effort of trying to make a relationship with him or even trying to just, you know, talk to him, see him being that. If you're not going to put an effort to do something, I'm not going to put an effort to do anything. So we have to both put an effort. He didn't want to care for me. He didn't want to show affection. Why should I?
How did you try? Like, I mentioned how, you know, we did the pop-ups. I mentioned how, you know, we had no responses to the pop-ups. But did you guys ever get to meet?
Yes.
Outside the courthouse, you guys got to meet?
Yes.
Can you elaborate, please?
One pop-up, we went there and we knocked on the door a few times. And guess who answered the door? His wife.
We didn't really know she existed. We heard of her later on down the line after Jay. Just want to put that out there.
And you know, being the person he is, he called her back in. He answered the door. You know, we talked, we engaged, we made it where we would be able to communicate, and down along the lines there'd be almost like play dates, like, oh, can he come visit, or he wants to come visit. More of he wants to come visit. And I'd go there sometimes, and we did different things, whether it was taking a walk, talking, just anything. And then there was times where I asked him questions that I'm not going to say out loud, but I asked him different things, we had talks, and he just would not stop lying. Because I asked him questions I already knew the answer to. But anyway, then I thought, lying to your son, great way to be a father. So, I was like, wow. He didn't give me respect. I thought, before I was like, okay, well now I'm at least trying to build a relationship with my father. And I thought he was trying too. But no. So, I stopped because there was no point of trying if I wasn't succeeding. So, I thought, I have a mom. I have a bonus mom. I've been perfectly fine my whole life without him. I don't need him. We went, drove to his house, and I expressed my feelings, and I said what I had to say.
Oh, you want to stop there? Okay. So, sometimes you do have dads out there. Unfortunately, it's not Jetty's experience, but sometimes you do have fathers out there that do want to play a role in their child's life. The reason I'm going in this direction is because it's my next notation on my book. So I'm going to go with the next notation. Sometimes you have guys that want to be a father in their child's life. And this is no disrespect to you great single mothers out there who are doing it. I get it. But sometimes you have bitter women who, they don't like the way things ended. They may not like characteristics about the person whom which we selected as a father to their child. Whatever your reasoning is, trust me, I get it. Just you listening to what this young man is sharing by his experience, please know, trust me, I get it. I personally have been a person who I'm not going to get in the way, even if I don't agree with how they operate, even if I know it's going to hurt my child. I'm not going to get in the way. You're never going to be able to blame me that your dad wasn't around. You're never going to be able to blame me that you couldn't have a relationship with your child. Jay, I know you don't have the experience of having a mom who gets in the way, but what would you say to mothers or family members who get in the way of their child having a relationship with their father?
I don't like that. Like, I wouldn't like the thought of that. Like being, I'm only a kid, but if I were to have a child as an adult and they don't have, like, the other parent leaves or they just don't have, like, don't know their other parent or don't have a relationship with the other parent, I wouldn't want to keep, like, if they mention it, I'm not going to keep them away from that. If they want to know, they want to know. If they feel a type of way, we'll handle it, we'll talk. But that doesn't mean that I'm just not going to let you see your other parent, because at the end of the day, that is your parent. So either they're going to play a role, or at least you got to see them. Because it's like, why keep them away from their own child? Or why keep your child from their own parent?
Are we stopping? Are you
Yes.
stopping there?
Yes.
Now, what I would say to that, to piggyback on what Jay is saying, since we're talking about fatherless children, I am going to speak to the ladies. Why? Because naturally that would make us the mothers, right?
Right.
Okay. Ladies, being a person who has 2 children, no, disrespectful, excuse me, being a person who has 3 children, sorry, my daughter is a month and a couple of days old, I gotta get into the habit of saying, being a person who has 3 children, right? I have different dynamics. Oh, how are you, Teresa Brown? That is a family member of TJ. Look at said face.
And my face was earlier because I saw the last name and I saw Brown and I was like, oh.
How are you, Teresa? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Yuli, for tuning in. Listen, being a person who has the experience of having a...
Okay.
All right, Pops. Sorry, we are reading comments. Dave, do me a favor. If I'm talking, you read the comments. If you're talking, I'll do the same. This way we don't have those pause moments, right? All right, guys. I have an ex-husband. That's who my first son is from. My oldest son is 20. Just turned 20 yesterday. Happy birthday, son. So I have the experience of having the father figure who is wholeheartedly there. My ex-husband has been there from day one, even played a role in my youngest son's life from time to time. I have my youngest daughter, my baby girl, my only daughter, who has a very active mom. Naturally, her mom pushed her out. You know, that's her mom's pride and joy, right? So I have two parents there, co-parents there, who are completely there. And then I have this beautiful young man here who unfortunately, thank you, who unfortunately has the experience of an absentee dad, as he stated earlier, from the avenue of abandonment, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, we do have some moms out there, though, where it's not always an abandonment issue, right? So I would like to talk to us. And when I say us, I'm only including myself, because I'm not a mom who does that, who gets in the way, try to keep from their dad. But I'm going to say us because I'm not going to exclude, I'm not going to make you ladies feel, you know, excluded or judged in any type of way. As women, we have to stand 10 toes down on the decisions that we make, right? Rather it be, now we have a situation here where I have a daughter, and my daughter's with my wife. So there is no dad. We chose a father along the way when we were going through our journey who would be that father figure, but biologically there is no dad. That's a total different story for a whole nother podcast. We're not going there. That being said, put that to the side. For those of us who selected a man, now by way of laying down with that man and choosing that he would be the person to help father this child or create this child, let's go there, with the intent of that person being the other parent, right? By way of, we were in love at that moment, we were in lust at that moment, whatever the case may be, we stood on our decisions in that moment. I don't believe that there's never signs, if that makes sense. Like, I don't believe, and this is my opinion, I can be 110% wrong to someone, but this is my opinion, right? I don't believe there's never signs. God's never going to leave you completely in the dark and not expose something to you. Sometimes we choose to ignore those signs. I can speak when it comes to this young man here, right? I remember asking, like, wow, I let this person into my world, like really wholeheartedly into my world. You met my friends, you met family, like you've really been over here. But I have not met a lot of your world. You had a couple of people in which you allowed me to meet, you know? You kind of was able to control that situation, those who wouldn't bust the darkness that you had going on and wouldn't let that overflow. So you allowed you allowed me in peacefully, right? Women, we have to stand on our decisions. Sometimes we make the move to have a child, rather that be, oh, it broke, didn't intend for that to happen, or, oh, I'm laying down unresponsibly, or I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. Whatever that case may be, a child comes out of it. We, as women, once we make the decision to have that child, that's the part where you have that, you know, this is my body, I have the right. That's where that ends. Once that child comes into this world, you no longer can just decide, unless it is going to be a physical danger where that you're concerned for your child's and your safety. That's different. If it is not going to be a physical danger where you're concerned for you guys' lives, you cannot deny that person the right to play a role if they want to. Even if you're scared of the pain that it's going to bring them. Oh, he'll be here today, he won't be here tomorrow. Oh, he's going to tell him lies about me. Oh, he's going to, he's, whatever your reason it is. Because one thing that I have learned from this young man here, and a lot of other young men in conversing with them, when that child grows and you allow them to see this for themselves, they're going to see that person for who they are. They're going to see the mistakes they made. They're going to see the voids. They're going to see if it is abuse. They're going to see, not in the sense of physical, because I'm always going to be for you protecting your kids physically, emotionally, if necessary and all. But they will see that this person is not what you want in their lives. They will see that role. Unfortunately, yes, they're going to have to sit on the steps half an hour. Dad said he's coming. Hour. Dad said he's coming. Yeah, you'll be there at the end. When he decides to come inside, you'll be there at the end to embrace him. Give the apology even though it's not your fault. Hug him, let him know he's loved, and keep being there day to day. But do not get in the way of these children having a relationship with their fathers if the father is trying. Sometimes we got to realize, as simple as it may sound, and you may not agree, if we knew better, we would do better. Sometimes these dads are giving the best that they can based on what was put into them. Maybe their dad wasn't around. Maybe their dad popped up, disappeared, popped up, disappeared. They're doing what they know. But if these guys are trying, let them try. Don't take that from them. Don't take that from the child. Let that kid, when they are of age and they know, let them make that decision. That's how I feel. I could be wrong, Jay. Based on what I'm saying, what would you say? How do you feel?
Well, I agree with everything you're saying. And I would also say, like you said, let them try. Because there's a difference between a father who is at least trying and then a father who really doesn't give a care. Also, those aren't angry faces because the hearts on here are the angry faces up there.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So they're not giving us
glitch in the system. Thank you for bringing that up to me, son. That's there for that. Hey, Eugene, we see you, Louis. How are you? Sis, I see you.
But I would like to say, we've been talking about, this in general, and we've talked about me. Let's talk about you.
Hey, let's talk about me. Go ahead, son. What you got to say? What do you got to ask?
Phone Pop was still here.
Hey, Miss Ross. Shane Ross.
Information that I've known but also learned. You didn't grow up with your biological father.
I did not. She said, why y'all look the same age? Black don't crack, baby. Go ahead.
So, you grew up with a bonus father.
I did.
So, how was it growing up with a bonus father?
Are you asking this question because you didn't have a bonus father or you just asked it?
Both.
Okay. All right, so Lorenzo Belton. Lorenzo Belton, that is my bonus dad. That was the gentleman who played a role in my life from the 90s. Him and my mom got married back in 92, I think. 92? I probably was like 10. It was cool. I feel like I am. It was cool. It was cool, honestly. So,
It went.
Yeah, it went. It was cool. Like when he first came on the scene, it was a little shaky, and I say that because like I had one of the moms that was like, "That's your dad," and I'm like, "But he really isn't though." But I couldn't say that growing up. But he really isn't though. And she's like, "You guys are gonna call him dad," and I was like, I don't even have a choice in the matter. Okay. And then I'm gonna tell y'all this story. Mom, I love you, no disrespect to you. You may not even remember this, but I do. Children remember things. I'm grown, but I was a child. I had a Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup. And my mom had already laid down the law that we was gonna call him dad. Hey Kiki. We were gonna call him dad. They weren't even married yet. But anyway, we were gonna call him dad. I didn't call him dad. I called him Lorenzo. Read that, baby boy. I called him Lorenzo. You know what she did? She took my Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup. Told me I couldn't have it because I didn't call him dad. Told him I couldn't have it because I didn't call him dad. Ladies, don't do that. Don't take your kids candy just because they don't want to call some man dad. He wasn't my dad at the time. But anywho, no. To be seriously, I had a great stepdad. He did the best that he can with what he knew. He stepped up. I commend any parent. I'm not going to say just any man. I commend any person who steps up to an already made family. What is an already made family? A parent with kids. There is another parent that is not there. I take off my hat to any parent or person who steps up to be a co-parent to an already made family. That thing comes with so many levels. You might have baby mama, baby daddy drama issues. You might have disrespectful kids on the scene. You might have different ways of co-parenting and you walking in, you're trying to play your part and you don't even know what that looks like. I take my hat off to all of you guys. I take my hat off. I'm always going to do this. First and foremost, I take my hat off to my wife who stepped in. I had 2 kids. She vowed she'd never get anyone with kids. I had 2 kids. And my little boy knows in his younger days, although he's only about to be 12, he was very trying. So she still stepped up. She didn't let that discourage her. Was it scary? Absolutely. But she didn't let that discourage her. And I thank her for that. And I thank every man who steps up to be a father to a child that is not biologically theirs. I thank every woman who steps up to be a parent to a child that is not biologically theirs. I thank Lorenzo for stepping up to be parents to myself, my baby sister, God rest her soul. My middle sister, he didn't really have to be that parent for because she lived with her dad. But it was cool, right? Your question said, how was that? What was that like? It was cool because I did have that male role model. I did have that male figure. I have an alpha mom, right? So women, we know what an alpha woman looks like. I had an alpha mom. So it did create a dynamic that might have been a little weird for me because, you know, it's weird for me now because of the things that you're taught from the world, because of the things that you're taught from the church. It wasn't weird then. I knew an alpha mom, an alpha woman, the woman who kind of like spearheaded how the household ran. So in my mind, that was normal, right? This is the woman, she runs the house. Lorenzo, I'm not disrespecting you when I say this is just what I saw. She runs the house, right? Do you play basketball? Are you talking to me? If you're talking to me, I used to play ball. But I got to see that, but it was something that did kind of affect how I treated men in my future relationships. My ex-husband, yes, I had an old pastor who told me that I had a tendency of emasculating men. It wasn't something that I would say I was proud of, but more importantly, it wasn't something that I did deliberately. I was a creature of circumstance. I was a creature of what my background was. So I had a tendency, not realizing it, I had a tendency of setting a test. I'm going to see if this man is really a man. I'm going to see if he's strong. Why? Because to me, a father and a man, they're going to be that solidness for the house. That's the head. That's my head. Although God is my head. Although God is my head. During that time frame. I'm gonna see.
My father figure.
Bless his name. Hallelujah. He's tough, guys. Yes. He's single. No, I'm just kidding. So when I saw my bonus dad or my stepdad being, hey Eric, being who product of my environment. Yes, I was a product of my environment. Being what I thought was to be lesser of a man, to me, in my opinion, because my mom tended to lead so much, it had me, I had a love for him, absolutely, because he was compassionate, he was very empathetic, he had an understanding when I was going through things, but I did view him as soft, which affected my respect for men, unfortunately. So how was it having a bonus dad? Jay, does that answer your question?
It does.
Thank you. I hope it answers you guys' perception of it. Hey Eric, how you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in. Hey wife, how are you? You have something else over there about me not having a pappy biologically? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna start in when you were introduced to Grandpa Lorenzo, did you ever see and or meet or have a relationship with your biological dad?
I did. Okay, at this age now, knowing what I know now, I did, but I didn't know that I did. When I was young, I met my dad at a really young age, right? So I didn't have a lot of recollection of a lot of things. I was way younger than you. I didn't have a lot of recollection of the relationships that we had. And I remember we'd go down to Florida. I'm born in Florida, guys. Born in Miami-Dade County. But anyway, I would go down there and we'd visit cousins from my dad's side. And respect cousins. I mean, sis, I see that. We'd visit cousins and stuff, and I'd hear things about my dad. Oh yeah, your dad's in the church, he's a preacher. But because I didn't know him personally and I had the voids that I had, I'd be like, oh really, he's a pastor? Oh, what about his daughter? But again, that's going off what I knew. Like I met him later on down the line. So I met him when I was younger, but I don't have a recollection of meeting him, honestly, until I was pregnant with your brother at 20.
But did you know he was your dad?
Yeah.
Did you meet him when you knew, like, did you already know him Before Lorenzo?
Did I know him?
Before Grandpa.
I met him. I can't say that I knew him.
Yeah, okay. Because I get what you mean by new. I mean, like, just did you know he existed?
Yes.
Okay.
Something else? We love when we would come too, Shane. You got something else over there for me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do.
What you got? What you got?
Well, did Pop Pop ever did he ever visit or live there with you guys?
Where? In New York?
Wherever you and Grandma were.
No. My mom's had me at a young age. She was 16. She had me at 16 right before she turned 17. And my dad was young as well. This is what happens when kids have kids. So they were really young. You know, they both still, you know, my mom still lived with her parents. And I think that question is for Jay. Give me a second. I definitely will open the floor for him to answer that question. But no, my dad didn't. To answer your question, no, he did not live with us. To my knowledge, ever. But Eric asked, do you feel like you're better off not having an on and off relationship with your dad? I think that's a really good question.
It is. As in I would like how it is not having
like if he popped up today and he wanted to be in your life and then he disappeared for a month or two and then he popped up and he wanted to be in your life and then, you know, he went faded black again, like that kind of thing. Hey, Davina.
I can see how other people might think like, I mean, I'd rather him pop up and then pop out than him
Really good.
than just not being here at all. But for me, I would say it's the exact opposite. I would rather it be like now and just stay here and with him not being in my life than him being on and off, because that's sort of like one of my godfathers. I don't want like a oh, let's hang out today, and then and then you just like disappear, because it's like, what happened? I thought we were cool. What happened? I thought we were supposed to, or da da da. We haven't talked in a while.
I get it. But what I thought was very wow to me was he said, would you rather having an on and off, or do you feel like you're better off, having an on and off? Keish, I definitely agree with you. I'm not with that part-time relationship, but again, I can't be the one to make that decision, right? So, do you think you're better off? Do you think you're better off either not having a relationship? It sounds like you said that you prefer it the way it is now than for him to be here today, gone tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. Pops, those of y'all who are dads out there, this is one kid.
Wait. Repeat that.
Do you feel that you're better off do you feel that you're better off not having an on and off relationship with your dad?
Right.
Okay. So Jerry says he feels he's better off not having an on and off relationship. Either you gonna be there,
I do,
or you ain't gonna be there. Jay, I would like to know
so
something.
many people have joined.
I know, right? And we definitely appreciate you guys. We just want to say thank you. Does he?
I said yes.
Oh.
Say yes to that question.
Yes, he knows his dad, guys. Take the time. Thank you guys for coming in. Those who have logged in, we really appreciate you. We thank you for your comments. It definitely makes it easier when you have a dialogue that you're able to have, not just the two of us here, but you know, people engaging with us. So we appreciate you for taking time out your day to join us on Love's Compassion Ministries podcast with the topic of Fatherless Child. Jay, there's a lot of kids out there, right?
There is.
That don't have dads.
Correct.
What would you say to them?
It's not something like I would just randomly say something to them, but you know, if I see like they happen to say a lot about that, or if I see that that makes them like, you know, emotional maybe, or if they happen to mention it, it's something I can go over them to talk about, because I have, what is it? Which one is it? Sympathy or empathy?
Empathy.
I have empathy. I can understand because I've experienced, I went through that. So, if were to happen, you know, go over to them. First, it has to ask a question, because it's what's necessarily wrong or what's necessarily right. Like, how do you feel, or how is the relationship? Is it a relationship that you just don't have like a father figure in your life? Is it that your biological father isn't in your life? Is it that like we were just saying, is it an on and off kind of thing? Like, what is it? But after, you know, I can speak like, the hard thing about it is people have different experiences and different opinions. So if I say one thing, they might think the other. Like if I say, well, it's not that bad, or they'd be like, well, it really is that bad. Or if I say, well, you know, maybe try speaking to them, and it's like, yeah, but I don't want to. Just different things. Or maybe you should try speaking to them, kind of thing. But I would nevertheless have like not care, or, you know, it'll be a good topic to speak about with someone, because we both have that experience. In fact, I wouldn't mind doing that. I would love doing that.
Maybe there is a platform for that. Maybe there's
actually, most of my friends have like, you know, odd relationship with their dad, whether it's not having a dad, whether it's an on and off. Like one of my friends is an on and off. One of my friends has one of those like weekends you go visit your dad, weekdays you're with your mom, and then another friend.
Do you have these kids' phone numbers?
I do.
Maybe do a group chat or something where it's a platform, even though it's text, it's a platform where you guys can get it out, you know, as young men, to kind of like lean on each other during those times. Maybe you can offer wisdom towards them, maybe they can help you during times, you know what I mean?
Right.
Something, if you have an interest in it, and, you know, I feel like the Lord doesn't put any opportunity on you that isn't one that's going to be beneficial for someone, you know what I mean? So if you're saying, oh, I would actually like to do that, maybe it's something you want to try. You have, these are schoolmates, I'm guessing, yeah?
They are.
So you can talk to them in school and ask them, like, what do you think, guys, if we, you know, however you choose to articulate it, to them, so be it, right?
Right.
So Eric would like to know, what's the most important thing someone who wants to spend time with Jay needs to know? Like, how does someone bond with you the way you want?
I don't understand that question.
Oh, Eric, if you're still there, baby boy, we love you. He says he doesn't understand the question. Hey, sis. Eric, he says he doesn't understand. So what he's saying is, if someone wanted to bond with you, and they wanted to hang out with you, spend time with you, what's something they need to know, like, about you that you would want them to know? Like, how would you want someone to ignite or create that type of bond and relationship with you?
Well, in general, I'm a straight up person, except there's a difference between, and you can ask, a lot of kids will say this, there's a difference between a kid speaking to an adult and a kid speaking to his friend, or another person his age. Because speaking to an adult, you know, you have to really put respect into what you're saying. Speaking to a kid, it's like, you could say whatever, like, you don't have to be like, may I, or have to put as much, like the way I talk to my friends, I would not talk to you like that.
Thank you.
But I would say, like I said, I'm a straight person, so a straight person to an adult, I'll tell you certain things that might come out like, wasn't expecting that. But to a kid, a straight up person, as in, I'm not afraid to say anything to you, whether it hurts your feelings or just makes you feel some type of way. If it makes you feel some type of way, then, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just me. And if you don't like that, then you can go speak to somebody else, because I don't know what to say. So, like, somebody in my class, we never had that, like, relationship, because just, you know, some people get on their nerve. And something she said and something she mentioned, like, well, I don't know, this and that. And I wanted to let her know. And I said it straight up. I didn't say it like a disrespectful attitude way, but I told her, I said, well, that's because we're not friends. And, you know, like I said, it may seem like, oh, wow, was not expecting that. Or sometimes it may seem harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh, but I'm trying to be real. Because I'm not fake.
Okay, so that was Jetty answering the question from Eric. What's the most important thing someone who wants to spend time with Jay needs to know? Like, how does someone bond with you the way that you want? So I've heard you express how straightforward you are, but how do they bond with you?
I would also say that I'm not afraid of anything that anybody says, so they shouldn't be afraid to tell me anything. Doesn't matter if it's disrespectful, doesn't matter if anything, because it hurts my feelings, it hurts my feelings, but I'm going to express the way I feel, because I am. But it depends, because if you say something to me,
if they want to be a part of your world, what do they need to know?
Who I am, really, so...
It's your platform. That's what they want to know. Who are you? Like, what do I need to know to be a part of your world?
Well, do know. I'm very impulsive with things. So, ADHD. So, don't be alarmed if something happens and you see me run or you see me jump and do something. It's not an emergency. No, I don't need 911. That's just me. You know? And then, also, I like to say I'm a comedian. Well, I don't like to say that. I usually don't say that. Other people say that. Because I'm a funny person. So, although some of the things I say, half of you will be like, that was very funny. And I'll get a laugh at you. And the other half is like, well, that was also very mean. But it's only certain things. Because, you know, I'm not a person who will just sit there and bully you for a laugh. Because I'm not a bully. But, you know. Or maybe you don't know.
First off, I would like for you to, I would like to thank you for your transparency. Because you did just share with the people that you have ADHD. It's not something that, you know, everyone's willing to put out there. I think that was super authentic, very organic of you to share, and we appreciate that. Eric says, yes, you're always cracking jokes on him. As it pertains to Ross, yes, buddy, you already know mommy don't play. So even though Eric was the one who asked this question, and I'm not concerned about Eric when I say this statement, but what is it that's important for someone need to know to be a part of Jetty's world? Do not play with my child's feelings. If you're an adult attempting to be a part of my child's world, do not reach out to my child prior to reaching out to me. Why? Because we've had a lot of people who say that they're going to come pick him up. They're going to come spend time with him. They have said these things to him. And then there are no call and a no show. And then when he reaches out to them, they may not answer. Or they give their reasonings as to why. Do not justify why you break my son's heart. Just don't do it.
Or not reasonings, more like excuses.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. So that was Jetty's response to y'all of what you need to know. Mama bear over here, do not reach out to my child. Reach out to me. Let me be that buffer. Because if you tell me that you're coming to get him or you would like to spend time with him, okay, cool. I'll open that door if I see that it's okay to open that door. But then something happens where you can't. I'm the person who get that, not him. He's had enough disappointment. Remember, we're talking about the abandonment issues of a father here. He doesn't need anybody, any father figure, or anyone else, for that matter, coming up and saying that they can't. While I never abandoned my child, I work a lot. It's out of my control. There's maybe some days where I say, Jay, we're going to do this. Mommy and you are going to do this, this, that, and the third. And I'm stuck at work for overtime. So when I come home, I'm too tired. So I've disappointed him on many days as well, not because I wanted to, but because my job has me bound in certain situations. So the last thing I need is for people who voluntarily come in and disappoint him. So what is there that people need to know if they want to be a part of Jetty's world? You have to come through me. Either me or you have to come through Dee, my wife. But do not reach directly out to my son. Eric, this is not for you, baby. I'm just answering your question. You have to reach directly out to us, not him. Because we are his protectors. So we need to know that you mean well. We need to know that you're really going to be there. And then when we see fit and we see that it's time, we will then bring it up to him. Because we don't need him broken for no reason. You understand what I mean? There's things that we can't control and there's things that we can. Mm-hmm. So when we can, we will. ADHD, we are loved. Plus, we are the best. We can sniff out anything. I got ADHD too, so I'm here for it. Shane, you are absolutely right on that. Respect. Thank you, Eric. We love you.
Although the way it's wrote is R-E-S-P-E-C-T. I don't know what it means.
Jetty, I have a question that I think is very important.
Yes.
What is your stance on forgiving on this matter? So remember, we're talking about fatherless children, right? Mm-hmm. And you yourself have experienced, while you are a fatherless child, you know who your father is.
I do.
And you know that he selected not to be a part of your life.
I do.
What is your stance on forgiveness when it comes to that? Forgiving someone who chooses to not be a part of your life. Forgiving all parties involved. Forgive my mom because she chose this person who is, however you would define this person. Forgiving the person who is less than what you may want him to be. What is your stance?
Something you said to me a while back, because I brought something up, and you said that forgiveness is like it's really big. It doesn't matter what, I mean, obviously it matters what they did, but when it comes to forgiveness, it doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter how bad it was. You should always still forgive somebody. Not necessarily you have to give them a second chance, but forgive them. Because you never know when it may be the end for you, it may be the end for them. You never know when, like, you never get to speak to that person again. Because then it's like, I didn't get to say bye, or I didn't necessarily, I'm not necessarily saying something about, what's TJ, but if you did something that I didn't like and it made me feel a type of way, then, I would, like, you know, I still have to forgive you because, you know, it did, I don't know why I keep saying you know, but sometimes.
You can edit it out later. People don't live see you for who you are, but you can edit out the podcast.
It can be people you love. For example, if you love someone, then, and they did something or they do something and you don't want to or you just don't forgive them, then it's like, imagine something were to happen to them where they just never woke up again. And it's like, well, now I feel guilty. Now I feel mad because now they're gone. I loved them. Maybe we were like this, maybe we weren't. And I never got to say bye. Or I never got to express that I loved them. Because they might, it comes to you and they were like, what if they had that mindset of, well, now he's mad at me, or now he feels this way because of what I did. I want him to forgive me. And then something happens and they don't know if you do forgive them. They don't know how you feel. And you want them to know. Which is where forgiveness goes. And something I learned way back was, a lot of people say, I'm sorry, and the other person will say, it's okay, but no. If what they did really wasn't okay, then don't say it's okay, say I forgive you. Or, it wasn't okay, but I forgive you. Because saying it's okay is like, it's okay, you can do it again.
So in a nutshell, your take on forgiveness is? on this matter rather, is you should forgive.
What?
Your take of forgiveness on this matter, someone who wronged you, or, you know, the fatherless, you know, that chose not to be a part of your life. Excuse me, soft-spoken. Gotta remember, you guys are all the way over there, and I gotta speak louder. So in a nutshell, I would say that, like you just said, the importance is the forgiveness, yes?
Right.
And you encourage such forgiveness. I think, I'm not trying to be a proud mom, but I'm a proud mom. This young man is so articulate. Like, he is so well spoken. You know, y'all are shouting out in the comments, you know, oh, if we could all raise our kids like that, or, oh, you did such a good job, Mom. Thank you, I appreciate you, but I am, yes, that is Grandma. I am not the only person who took part. He did have a village. His village may not have been, you know, some wide casted net, but he did have a village that pours into him. And this young man has had wisdom from the beginning. Jetty is such an awesome kid. His POV of life is just so awesome. Sometimes I sit down and I talk to him and I'm like, yo, who raised you? And then he'll be like, oh, I got an awesome mom. Thank you.
You know who I got it from?
But no, like, I really appreciate this young man. And as he stated, when it comes to forgiveness, one of the things that I've always tried to influence and encourage people, and I had to learn for myself, forgiveness is for yourself. Forgiveness is definitely for yourself. It's not for the other person whom in which you are forgiving, right? So you will find, especially if you go to therapy, I'm a pro-therapy person. Like, I don't care what nobody say. Light skin, white skin, brown skin, black skin. I'm a advocate for therapy. Therapy is an awesome thing, right? Oh, hey, Renee McRae, how are you? I was just saying this. Forgiveness is for yourself.
Oh my God.
So one of the things that you will realize is if you don't forgive someone, you have given them control over your life, right? So you're walking around, that person's living their life wherever they may be. They're doing whatever it is they may do, having their smiles, their laughs, their heartache, whatever they're doing. And you're walking around with anger or bitterness or unforgiveness within you. And it's planting a seed. That's what makes it even worse. So yeah, you may have that anger, you may have that unforgiveness, but what's worse is it's planting a seed. And if anybody knows anything about gardening, right? So if you plant a seed and that seed obtains nourishment. Now, if the seed is within you, of course, we're not talking about sunlight. We're not talking about the watering of it, right? But if we go from the, what do we say, Jay? I can't think of it. But anyway, you're planting a seed. If you get more people that do that same thing to you, right? If you experience more things in life and it just triggers something that draws you back to where that seed is, draws you back to that person and what they did to you, right? Or those things they will continue to water that seed. They will continue to pour into that seed. Because every time something happens, you haven't forgiven this person, right? Let's say hypothetically, we're talking about fatherless, right? And you made the statement that it was an abandonment issue, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say my dad left me, right? My mom left me or what have you. Now you're growing up and you're developing relationships and you have this friend or what have you, and for whatever reason that friend leaves. Now you're triggered. I remember when my dad left me, right? I remember when my mom left me. I remember when, you know, whatever the case may be. And now you're growing and you're continuing, you're developing relationships. And this is, we're talking about abandonment, right? So we have relationships that we develop and people come and go. You can't control how people come and go. But you have people that keep disappearing out of your life, right? So now you have people that keep abandoning you. You don't realize that it's just people are here for a season and a reason. You're just thinking about abandonment. Abandonment. My dad left. My mom left.
Because it's very negative.
My sister left, right? So you keep pouring into this seed, right? Jetty, please keep in mind of the comments for me, right? You keep pouring into this seed. So now you're feeding it. You're watering it. You're nourishing the seed. And it's growing. It's festering. Because if we take care of anything long enough, it will grow. But you're taking care of a negative thing. I didn't forgive. That seed is planted. So now it's growing. So-and-so left me, my mother left me, my cousin left me, my auntie left me, my sister left me, my this, that, and the third. It's growing. And guess what? When something grows and gets bigger, it takes up room. When it takes up room, room is being filled in. So now when you're trying to develop relationships, there's lack of space there. Why? Because you're putting so much energy here. When if you just go ahead and forgive that person, right? Just cut it off at the root. Pull that seed up. Get rid of it. We don't need it, right? I forgive them. They left. I don't know why. Doesn't matter. I'm still whole. I'm still good. Those branches aren't growing. That next person come in, it's like, oh, they left. Oh, well, I guess the Lord needed them better than I did. Or, guess they were needed somewhere else. But when you plant and you let something grow, not everything is meant to grow in your life. Unforgiveness is for you cultivating negativity. Aw, thank you, Mom. She's at Peach. The nails are nailing. Hey, Vaughn, how are you? But anywho, that was that. Oh, Jetty, thank you for your response on forgiving. Do you have something you want to say? I do have another
I do.
Go ahead. Let's go.
To sort of, not really go on with what you're saying, but on that same topic, when I think of what you were saying, I think of the phrase when people say that one door closes, another one opens, and think of abandonment, like you were saying, like this person leaves. And I think of that person leaves, another person comes into your life. That person leaves, another person comes into your life. But people don't, I believe people don't, a lot of the time, people don't come into your life for no reason. Like someone who will stick with you, someone who, like, you actually have a relationship with, they mean, they mean something to you. So, that's what I had to say.
All right, what would you say to the fathers out there? They may be active fathers. They may be fathers that want to be a part and someone's getting in the way. They may be fathers that make up excuses as to why they can't be a dad. They may be fathers that just choose not to be a dad because it's too much drama to deal with that mama. Whatever their reasoning is. What would you say to those dads out there?
Active dads, be you, be a good father. Dads who make up excuses, I mean, be you too, but God, it's not doing anything good or right, because even if it doesn't seem like it, or even if it isn't, it really is affecting somebody. It really is, because if somebody wants to spend time with you, or if somebody wants to visit you, talk to you, and you're just making up excuses over and over and over, excuse after excuse after excuse, then it's like, why bother even talking to you if you're just gonna, there's always something wrong. So, and then I would say, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. And then I forgot. What were you saying?
While he
What were you saying about the dad?
While he regains his thought process on, or recalls his thought process on talking to the dads. Thank you. Renee said that you're so mature.
Thank you.
As a mom who has experienced the active dad versus the non-active dad, if I can say anything to you gentlemen out there who are fathers, first off, don't stop trying. If you have that opportunity, please play your role the best in which you can. Even if she gets in the way. I have a friend out there who, he is a great dad to his daughters. And he has totally different spectrums. He has a mother of his child who is, in my opinion, she's a loose cannon. Doesn't have, the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. And out of her bitterness, she gets in the way of the relationship with him as his daughter. And then he has a mother of his child who is the complete opposite. He is very active in her life, and this young lady doesn't get in the way at all. They co-parent very well. I always encourage him. I've encouraged him from the beginning, when it came to the legal aspect. Go to court before she goes to court. Let the court know that you want to be a part of your child's life. Everything that you can do, do. Everything that is in your scope, gentlemen, everything that is in your scope legally to do, do it. Don't allow the disappointment to discourage you. And there will be a lot of disappointment. But if our children were to quit as quickly as we want to quit when you have that disappointment and that discouragement, what are we showing them? If we fight for your blood, fight for the blood that you created. When they see that, it does build something in them. It does create something in them. So gentlemen, those who want to be a dad and someone is out there making it hard, please do not give up. And those who
anything get in your way.
And those of you out there who struggle with the concept, didn't have the example, don't know how to, find a way. Do the best that you can. When you feel like you're missing the mark, keep swinging for it. Don't give up. Because one thing I have noticed from this young man is even when you yourself feel like, oh, you're failing, the mother feels like, oh, he's a deadbeat. If you show them any inkling, they still look at you like you're a hero. They still like, oh my gosh, that's my dad. And you know, the mom could be looking at you talking crazy or what have you. That's not something I do, but I'm just saying. Talking crazy or what have you. Keep your eye on the prize. If you have a young king out there and a young princess or queen out there, remember what you want them to be and remember the role that you played in it. Do you remember what you were going to say?
I said,
copy. What did you say? I'm going to try to go through these key points as quick as I can because we're battery tested on the phone. Don't judge me. I didn't plug the phone. Jay, what would you say to the mothers out there that I'm going to phrase it like this? Sometimes we get in the way because we're trying to protect our children from disappointment and pain. What would you say?
You're not doing anything bad. You're really still not doing anything good.
Okay.
Because I would say, like, if you really think, I get how you may be thinking, oh, I'm protecting them because like, I don't want them to, like she said, to be disappointed of being let down by their father or this or that. But then again, you still want them to bond, talk, or at least have the tiniest bit of a relationship with their father.
Yeah, you can respond to their comments afterwards. You were saying?
No, finish.
Okay. What would you say to those who don't yet have children? Excuse me, guys, we have the charger being plugged in. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you. Like Shane said, be responsible. Don't just be out there laying it low and spread it wide. What would you say to those who don't yet have children but want to someday? How can we prevent what you're dealing with?
Nobody knows the future. You could be psychic, you don't know what's coming for you. We have prophecies, that's something, but only God knows what will happen. So, I don't think there's really anything that will forbid or prevent something like that from happening. But know that if that were to happen, don't let that from stopping you spending time with your child or stopping you from being a good role model or living your life. Because if you let that get in the way of you, that can affect your child. Like, if she decided she was just going to give up, and then you never know, because that could end badly and have a bad outcome. But because she is trying, and now look, she has a wonderful life, my wonderful bonus mom. She's not a single mother. She has someone who is there for me and for her. But Also, don't let anybody discourage you from having children.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. What I would like to say, Shane, you're funny. What I would like to say, honestly, from the standpoint that I was thinking when it comes to wanting to have children, think about that person that you're having kids with, right? I had people that used to ask me, because I did get married at a young age initially. I had people that used to ask me, what would I say to people out there? Aw, you just touched somebody's heart, Jay. If we can reach one. What I used to say to them when they used to go, oh, if you can tell anybody anything on marriage, what would you say? I always said, think about the person that you know and imagine them never changing. They don't change for the good. They don't change for the worse. They stay exactly how they are in that moment. Can you deal with that for the rest of your life? Always magnify the worst, because at some point that's going to get on your nerves a whole lot. Can you deal with that for the rest of your life? I would like to encourage you to think that same exact way and some when it comes to vetting someone to be a co-parent, whether it be the mother of your child or the father of your child. Think about the characteristics that they have, their values, the things that they do on the regular, whether it be bad habits, good habits, the things that they believe in, their culture. Look at their background. Look at how they're raised, the roles that their parents play in their life or don't play in their life. You have to look at all of those things before you have a child with them. If those things are not there for you to reach and easily see, think twice before you have a kid with them. Because it may be something they're hiding, or it just may be something that you don't know, and because you don't know it, doesn't mean it's a good thing. Those are the things you need to think about, because at the end of the day, once you have a child with that person, there is no turning back. Their views are going to be there if they decide to be an active part of that child's life. Their views are going to be there. How they feel about child rearing, the way in which they child rear. The last thing you want is a tug of war. This life is already rough. The last thing you want is a tug of war while you're trying to raise a queen or a prince. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep doing that. A queen or a king in this world. This world is hard enough. The last thing they need is their roots to be at combat. That makes no sense. So you make sure that you know. If my daughter was to grow up and be exactly like this woman that I am with, if my son was to grow up and be exactly like this man that I am with, exactly to the T, I'm okay with that. I won't lose no sleep. I know they'll be great. I know they can pour into someone else's life. I know that they can help to be a build to this world. They can help to build the kingdom. Those things, the things that matter to you. Then that's when you go ahead and you move forward. You understand what I mean? I love this. Jenny, your mom is doing a beautiful job with you. Congratulations. Hey, Perry, how are you? Hey, Miss Scott, how are you? We appreciate you guys for logging in. Jay, I don't have any more notes. Do you have something over there that you didn't cover? Go ahead.
No, it is. I don't.
Do you think you should give someone the opportunity to learn how to parent if their values and their heart is in the right place? That's a good question, E. That's a good question. What was above that? If your dad decided to come back to be a part of your livelihood, what's not acceptable? Okay, so we have two great questions there, and I don't want to leave either one unanswered. Jay, the one that came first, if your dad decided to come back into your life, to be a part of your livelihood, what's not acceptable?
Well, if that was the case, like we said before, I wouldn't want it on and off. If he did come into my livelihood, I don't want him to just end up leaving then. But also, the lying, I've experienced this lying. I don't want him constantly lying to me, constantly lying to anyone. Because it's not a good character trait to have. And for him, for TJ, that's his character trait, one of his character traits, one of his many, his habits, that habit.
Anything else on that one? Oh, I got you on the comments.
Right. What is not acceptable? I'm mean, I don't even think I would really want that anymore.
What?
Like, him just, it would feel like it would be different.
Different isn't always bad.
Right, but I like how it is.
Me too. Sort of like how it is.
And like I expressed to you, and I've even said it in school, he has affected me emotionally, but will never affect the way I act. And by that I mean nothing he has done will affect what I do when I grow up, or even now, as I'm living, as I'm growing up. I'm never, like, I don't even like thinking about me doing, like, being him. Like, I don't, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, as if, like, because, you know, I'm still his child. I just don't want to be, like, I just don't want to have traits like him. And I've said it before, I'm saying it again. I know for a fact, if, or not if, when I have children, and when, because I watched the video, Alicia Keys, there's no such thing as if, it's when. When I have children, when I grow up, and when I succeed, it won't be because of him. Now, he did play a role, and because of him, I know that because of him, and I would say because of the abandonment, I've learned, it's taught me different things about my emotions, and it's taught me different things in general. You have too. I'm going to be a better father than he ever will be. I'm going to be a better husband than he ever will be. There.
Don't mind that, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Uncle Eric, he said, do you think you should give someone the opportunity to learn how to parent if their values and their heart is in the right place? My answer to that question would be yes, but. Yes, but. We would, hey Sharon, how are you? We would have to have a nice long depth discussion. I would need to have an understanding, you know what I mean? Learning how to parent is a task for both parents, not just one or the other. Because if you've never had kids, it's a learning experience, point blank period. So we're gonna learn together. But I do believe that it is very important that each of us discuss our values. Each of us discuss where your heart is, and I say that because you said your heart's in the right place. And if we have a common ground there, if there is a meeting of the minds, a meeting of the hearts, a meeting of the understanding there, then absolutely. I definitely would give that person an opportunity to be a parent if my heart is with that person in some shape, form, or fashion. I hope that answers your question. Love what you're doing. This is amazing. Great job, Jay.
Thank you.
So to answer your question, yes, Eric, I would give someone the opportunity to learn how to parent if their values and their heart is in the right place. We have to know what the right place is and agree that that's the right place. Because if the two of you aren't in agreement, then it's going to be a tug of war and a battle. You know what I mean? So long as we're on the same ground, or at least, you know, in the same soil, yeah, I definitely give an opportunity.
Family Feud. Good answer. Good answer.
Does anyone else have any questions or any comments or concerns that they would like to express?
Open space.
See, I have the headphones on, so I can sound a lot louder in my ears than I might be actually. So let's project that voice. Does anyone else have any comments, any concerns, or any questions that they would like to express before Jetty and I close out today's discussion? We definitely thank you guys. I'm not cutting y'all off. Please feel free to put it in. I just need you to be my mom for 6 months. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Trust me, it was a journey. I have 3 kids. I learned a lot over the last 20 years from a lot of people. And I really, that's really, that touches my insides. I appreciate you, Shane. Thank you. I enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much. We don't have a topic for our next one yet, but we definitely will let y'all know as soon as we do.
I have topics in mind.
We definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. We appreciate you for being brave enough to share your questions and your comments. And we ask that you will continue to join us. We're trying to do this weekly as of right now. We have not launched the actual podcast onto any streaming network yet because we want to make sure that we have a nice catalog of work so that there's consistency there. But we do thank you all for coming on. Right, Jay?
We do.
If you guys have any topics that you want to hear us talk about, thank you. If you guys have any topics that you want to hear us talk about, please feel free to send us an email. Even make comments down below. Email lovescompassion@gmail.com. LOVESCOMPASSION@gmail.com.
I'm glad to hear that.
Wow, that's awesome. Man, this is super awesome. You guys, y'all are gonna make us keep doing this. Why? Because this is what we wanted, right, Jay?
This is exactly what we wanted.
Man, this is super, super cool. We thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. And please stay tuned. We will definitely be coming to you next week with something else. We will make sure that we inform y'all sometime throughout this week what we will be talking about. I hope the wife comes and joins in. She said that she will join us at some point. I'm 44 and this guy inspires me. Wow, that's awesome. That is super awesome. She said she will join us at some point. I don't know when, definitely got to be a topic that, she wants to step in on. But we do thank you guys. Please, again, feel free. Send us a comment. Send us a topic of discussion that you may want to hear us talk about. Send it through email, throw it in the comments. We're here for it. We appreciate you. We love you guys.
Yes, we do.
See ya next week.